What if I told you one of the most disturbing, horrifying stories in all of ancient literature isn't from a horror film or a grim history book, but is found right in the middle of the Bible? This is a story that involves betrayal, gang violence, and a tragedy so shocking it literally tore a nation apart. This is the story of the Levite and his concubine from the Bible. And to understand its sheer brutality, we have to understand the time in which it happened. The Bible describes a vicious cycle in Israel's history after entering the Promised Land. The people would fall into idolatry and corruption. God would allow an enemy to oppress them. They would cry out for help, and God would send a judge, a military deliverer. But after each rescue, they'd fall back into chaos. This episode begins with a Levite, a man from the priestly class, living in the remote hill country of Ephraim. He had a concubine, who is usually a secondary wife with fewer legal protections. She becomes angry with him after he deemed her unfaithful and returns to her father's house in Bethlehem, over 50 miles away. After 4 months, the Levite decides to win her back. He travels to Bethlehem with a servant and donkeys. Her father is overwhelmingly joyful to see him. This is our first moment of warmth. The father-in-law is a model of hospitality, insisting they stay, eat, and drink for days, an entire feast stretching over 3 days. It feels like a story of reconciliation. But on the 4th day, the Levite insisted on leaving after the father-in-law wanted him to stay longer. They departed late that afternoon, which was a crucial mistake. As they travel north toward home, night falls near the city of Jebus, later Jerusalem, which is still inhabited by Jebusites. The servant suggests staying, but the Levite refuses to stay in a foreign city. He insists on pressing on to an Israelite city, Gibeah, in the territory of Benjamin. They arrive in the town square of Gibeah, and nothing happens. No one offers them hospitality. In the ancient Near East, this was a profound social sin, leaving travelers vulnerable. Finally, an old man comes in from working in the fields. He's not even from Benjamin. He's from the same hill country as the Levite. He takes them into his home, feeds their animals, washes their feet. It's a flicker of light in the growing darkness. But then, the knock comes at the door.
Bring out the man who came into your house, that we may know him.
The men of the city, a wicked bunch, surround the house. Their demand is clear and terrifying. They want to sexually assault the male guest. This echoes the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. The pattern of evil is repeating itself within Israel. The host, desperate to fulfill his duty of protection, does the unthinkable. He pleads with the mob. He calls their demand wicked and folly in the sight of the true God. But then he offers them his own virgin daughter and the Levite's concubine instead. The horror escalates. The Levite himself then seizes his concubine and pushes her out the door into the hands of the mob. They raped her and abused her all night until the morning. She is subjected to unimaginable violence. As dawn breaks, she collapses at the threshold of the house, her hands on the doorstep. The Levite opens the door in the morning to continue his journey and finds her there. His words are chilling in their coldness.
Get up. Let us go.
There is no answer. She was dead. He loads her body onto his donkey and returns home. But this episode doesn't end with his return. It descends into a macabre political act. Upon reaching home, the Levite takes a knife and dismembers his concubine's body into 12 pieces. He sends a piece to each of the 12 tribes of Israel. This gruesome parcel service was the ancient equivalent of a national alarm bell. It was a call to witness. The message was clear.
Look what has happened among us. Look at the evil.
The reaction is universal horror. The tribes assemble and demand the tribe of Benjamin hand over the men of Gibeah to face justice. The Benjamites refuse. They choose to defend their tribe and the guilty men within it over justice for the woman. What follows is a bloody civil war. The other tribes nearly wipe out the entire tribe of Benjamin. This one act of evil in Gibeah leads to the brink of a tribe's extinction. So why is this horrific narrative in the Bible? It's not a moral blueprint. It's not a how-to guide. It is the ultimate diagnostic X-ray of a society in total collapse. The failure of leadership. The Levite, a religious figure, is cowardly and selfish. The corruption of community. The men of Gibeah are monstrous. The city's silence is complicit. The perversion of hospitality. The sacred law of protecting guests is violated by the mob and tragically inverted by the host and the Levite, who sacrifice the vulnerable to save themselves. This story is the bottom. It shows what happens when everyone does what is right in their own eyes. Not freedom, but utter, consuming darkness. It's a desperate, graphic argument for the need for righteousness, for justice, for true leadership, and for the protection of the vulnerable. This is a symbol and signifier for the modern world today, after selfish desires and opposing the rules of God. The evasion of justice on earth doesn't translate to universal justice from God, who is king above us all.